What does God look like? What do you see?
We're solar-powered biological AI.
Wait, what?
These ancient adversarial entities, I think it's the very same ones that rebelled against God and were cast out.
They were sent here to guide us in antiquity, and they took advantage of that and just masqueraded as gods. What is going on, everybody, and welcome to the Gray Pill Podcast. Welcome back. We were here last night with 7 C's, had a banger of an episode. You know, it's crazy. Once the live shut off, we talked for like 30 minutes after the show, and that was where the good conversation was. Happens that way. There he is. He's on his phone, but he's here. Guys, I got a banger episode for y'all today. I got my man back in the building. He's a new father. He is a researcher, a podcaster. He's a funny guy. Esoteric Eddie is in the house. Eddie, how we doing, man? Happy Sunday. How's your day going?
What's up? Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good. You're good. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, man. Glad to be back. Thank you for having me. My Sunday's going cool. Was able to sleep in a little bit and just got the family some food, and we ate that, and now we're chilling.
Hell yeah, man. Yeah. Just so I saw a picture. I think it may have been when your girl was pregnant, but it's you and her, and you have a cowboy hat on, and you're standing over her like her protector. It's very stoic.
Thank you. Yeah,
I'm loving it.
That was the vibe I was going for.
Hell yeah. I'm sure it's a beautiful young man that you have, and I'm sure he takes after his father.
Oh yeah, dude, he's very, very energetic already. Just wants to see the world and just ready to start running around.
Boys will be boys, dude.
Yeah.
You know, they tried to take that away from us, and we won't let them. We won't let them.
Not at all, man.
Eddie, for people who aren't familiar with you, which I don't know, you have to be living under a rock to not know who this gentleman is. One of the many people who inspired me to start getting into getting into researching the occult sciences and to look deeper into things, to find the esoteric in things. You want to kind of tell people who you are and a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. So I go by Esoteric Eddie online, and I've been working through that name and brand for about, 3 or 4 years now. And with that name and brand, I've published 3 books, countless documentaries on YouTube, along with a lot of short form content on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, or X as it is now. So I'm an author of esoteric, occult, and conspiratorial subjects, as well as a general content creator on those subjects as well. I've been featured on many, many shows, including this one, with my most viewed interview being on the Danny Jones podcast, which is well over 600,000 views.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that, man. That's awesome. I think I've seen some clips from that show.
Oh yeah, that interview was fun, man. That one definitely put me in a whole nother level. But yeah, just so all around author, content creator, bit of a graphic designer, as you can see on the screen right now. Those are all my t-shirts on my website. Simple designs that I came up with.
Everyone has seen me. They see me rock the hat probably every stream, almost every stream. When I don't have my wife style my hair for me.
Heck yeah, man. Thanks for supporting.
I got the hermit lamp on. Yeah, man. Always, always.
But that's it in a nutshell, man. Just been at it for, I mean, under this brand 3 or 4 years. But other than that, my entire life has been pretty much dedicated to seeking out this knowledge and understanding it.
Yeah, man. I think that's something that a lot of people don't really get the grasp. This stuff isn't for everyone. Then again, you put it into the hands of the wrong people, and God knows what they could do with it. Last time you were on, we talked about your books, The Lucifer Mysteries Revealed. Great book. I'm in the process of still reading it along with a few other books, but I have been reading it. And dude, your research, I have to commend you on your research, man. It's great.
Thank you.
And you bring the receipts for stuff. Guys, if y'all haven't yet, I just pulled up his site. He has a few books on there. Y'all go check him out. He came on, I believe it was last, I think it was right before Christmas last year. You would come on and we talked about your books. Besides fatherhood, what have you been kind of doing since then? Is there anything that you've been getting into recently?
Well, I've been trying to put a lot of effort into my podcast as well. So that's been like the forefront when it comes to content for me. I like to do in-person podcast. Sometimes I'll do like this. Yeah, IRL. So it's been a challenge to do that. So I just went out to LA recently and I did a in-person podcast with the homie Zach Ass from Jackass.
No way.
Yeah, he's one of the newer members of Jackass, and I got put in touch with him with one of my other friends. So that podcast just got released this past week. So I'm really passionate about filming things in real life. I've always been passionate about that since way back in the day. So yeah, right now just really trying to expand the podcast. But as far as esoteric and occult stuff, just the usual dropping small form content here and there, and admittedly have been messing around with AI tools just to see if it would make my life easier and or able to make interesting things with it. So like I just recently dropped a little 5-minute video about Hitler and his occult ties. But I put a little spin on it, to make it a little more unique and interesting. But I did that one using AI tools, which was fun and interesting for me. So just trying to expand things. At this point, I feel like, I've kind of touched on everything you could touch on. So I'm just kind of taking a step back to just see where I want to take things, because I don't want to get stuck in, talking about the same things forever and ever,
Absolutely, dude. Yeah.
But luckily enough, we live in a crazy world where crazy things are happening every day. So as the years progress, there's going to be new things to talk about as this world just continues to be crazy.
What's this thing you said you did on Hitler? What was that?
Yeah, you can see it right there. It's on the second row towards the right.
Painter and the alien rulers from our past. What'd you find there? Because I'd actually talked about last night how Himmler did have this, he had this castle with this dungeon and all these tomes and these talismans, all these occult tools, a dagger that was passed down to Michael Aquino, right?
Yep.
Or somehow he got it, big surprise there. But what is that the Aldebarans that they were trying to contact?
No, so I pretty much tied it in with the Nephilim. Just generalize it. Like I wasn't trying to go super hard with that one. The point for me on that one was just using the AI tools to see if I could make something just like super like eerie and entertaining.
I got you. So did AI let you create like swastikas and stuff? Like were they open to that?
No, so my process was, and I'm about to give y'all some gems. You can go start a YouTube channel with this.
Guys.
So what I did is I'll have Chat GPT write me up the script, the actual essay of the documentary, the script of the documentary, and I'll edit it, make sure it's on point and sounds cool. And then I'll throw that script into CapCut desktop, and then they have a feature on there where they will narrate your script, and they will also form some media to it, like some images to it. But I always scrap their images because they're useless.
Right.
And then I will add my own images and my own music and my own editing and transitions. So basically, I'm only using AI for the script and the narration, and then the rest of it is all me: the music, the images, the transitions, the
Dude,
rhythm, the feel.
CapCut's really good at letting you do that, dude. I've done a lot of edits. I actually just did this Twin Peaks, this like little Black Lodge edit. It is actually pretty good. If any of y'all are on, I'll play it at the end of the show. Maybe we'll see. But CapCut, I think my wife used that to make her intro for her thing that she's starting to work on, which she's actually working on after this. After this show, she'll be borrowing my stuff to work on her stuff. So that'll be interesting to observe. But she's not new to this. But yeah, man. No, I've used CapCut for like back when I used to do a show called Schizo News Network. I used to make these supercuts, and I would use CapCut for that. I've made some edits for my own show, and it's really cool how you can like kind of do your own thing with it, like be your own director, kind of like put your own music in there or whatever music you want to use, and yeah, like kind of make it your like own artwork. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's the fun part of it for me.
Yeah, you give it your own aesthetic. It's kind of like you have a piece of yourself in there,
Yeah, absolutely.
But so the last time you came on, we did talk about the concept of Lucifer and how you didn't believe that Lucifer was this entity that people fear, right? And that's talked about that it's actually feminine in nature and comes from the worship of the morning star or Venus, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, man. After reading about that, and then the more you get into it, you look at like the Greeks and the Romans. Some kind of looked. I think they looked to Mars as Lucifer, maybe. But no, you're absolutely right. And so taking that feminine and then turning it into the masculine is kind of what they've done with a lot of things throughout antiquity and the ancient past, don't you think?
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, the divine woman was definitely scrubbed out. The feminine counterpart to God was definitely scrubbed out.
Yeah, it's scrubbed out of everything. Even so, like in the biblical text as well, right?
Yeah.
Like how there's like no female prophets, and all the oracles are considered like witches and stuff. You know what I mean? But when a man has a vision, he's like a holy man.
Yeah, it's wild. I had this philosophical thought recently that the very last thing that God created, biblically speaking, was woman. Women were the very last thing God ever created, right? Because he had created everything, and then he created man. But women, nothing was perfect without women. So God created the world, the universe, and then man, but there was still something missing, and it was women. Women were the very last thing that God created, and that speaks volumes to how important they are. This universe would not be perfect if it weren't for women. We needed them. So I just started tripping on that philosophically, like, oh wow, like nobody really. That kind of just went over most people's heads that like that was the last thing he created, and this entire reality would not be perfect without them.
And the fact that it says that he created Eve from the rib which just means that she comes. It's just when you read into it esoterically, she's just a part of man, right? Like they are one and the same as far as like you have a household now. You have your wife and your son. I have 2 kids and a wife. I've been married 12 years. Spirituality is a big thing for a healthy family, right? Regardless of where you are spiritually, I think it is important as a man to be the leader of your household, but it is important to have a strong woman there to always have your back and to protect the children, right? I mean, it's your job to protect all of them, but she mainly looks after the kids, right? Make sure that you're taken care of, and in return, you take care of them, right? It's crazy how now, and in this day and age, it's kind of lost on most of society. They've forgotten these roles that they're supposed to take as men and women, which what is that doing to the next generation, right? That's setting them up for failure. And so when you go back and you look at these priestesses or whatever, and the priesthoods taking over, they kind of brought this like darkness with them, right? And I do, and we've talked about this before, how they were serving these lesser deities, right? You could call them archetypes. I know a lot of people tend to believe that they manifested into physical form or took on avatar bodies, many things, right? Now, there's people that look at these stories as being strictly symbolic, right? Like I've dived into astrotheology and all that stuff. And I mean, it's all there. I think, to be honest with you, it just depends on the person, how you interpret it. Some people can interpret it many ways. That's the thing. That's what I'm trying to kind of learn how to do right now, is look at these stories and find similarities with the other ones. And, you can find a lot of these stories. We go through these things ourselves,
Yeah.
And I find that a lot when you look at the stories of the gods or whatever, all these proclivities that they have, you find that in man as well. So in a way, it's just like, I don't know. It's almost as if these old mythologies and stories are just retellings of like what we go through in life, right?
Yeah.
Whether that be like the hero's journey or the dark night of the soul, or whatever that may be. But I don't know, man. There's a lot right now that is open to interpretation. You have a lot of people who, they are trying to rewrite history in a way, and it seems to be working to some extent. And you can tell by like the downfall of our society. That's one very quick way to tell. I don't know, but does it feel like to you that there's being something done to usher in like this dark age, or do you think it's more of an enlightenment period?
Oh man, great.
I know
question.
that's a big question. Yeah. I know.
No, I mean, it's a great question, but I think about this a lot, actually. And yeah, there's definitely a lot going on to usher in the dark age, for sure. And I think it's because we are in an age of enlightenment that the darkness is trying harder than ever. And it's like tug of war right now, like an intense game of tug of war. Like it's every day it's uncertain. I think every day it could go either way. But my honest belief is that the darkness is gonna win, because it's not only prophesized that they're gonna win, but it's just obvious that they're gonna win. However, what they're gonna win is a cheap reward, because what they're after is a very soulless and cheap goal. So let's let them have that. But aside from the darkness, there will still be a faction of humans that have access to nature and access to God. But we're going to have to accept that we are not going to reap the benefits of the system. To put it in other words, if you don't want to go along with this transhumanism age and fall asunder to that, you're going to have to eradicate the way you view life and what you value, and have to do away with the idea of fame and riches and middle class America, upper class America, and just be okay with returning back to a simpler life. Because it's the fame and riches, the Hollywood lifestyle in general, that pulls people to the transhumanism darkness subtly. Because when you're after fame and riches in all of its various aspects and forms, they're all just simple and large ways that pull you towards that. So I just talked about this actually in an Instagram video that I posted on my YouTube. You can look it up. It's like the last video that I uploaded. And I talked about how we've gone through different eras of mankind. And through all of these eras, the power dynamic relationship between the people and the powers that be has always existed. We've always had a relationship. The people,
these are the yugas, right?
Well, yeah, that's
cycles or whatever.
Yeah, that's one of them to look at it. That's one way to look at it. But I was looking at it more so through like a philosophical lens. I've been on this whole philosophical kick lately, which I can get into.
Absolutely, dude. Yeah.
I'm trying. Yeah, lately I've been challenging myself to like come up with my own concepts. You know what I mean? Like,
I love
just
it.
To add to the family of philosophy. And so I was thinking to myself, okay, so we've gone through eras where the power dynamics between the people and the powers that be have always existed. The earliest one was the God King era, right? There were the people and then the God Kings. And then after that, it was the people and the man kings, which was basically the same thing.
Yeah.
And then after the man king era, we had the nation state era, right? It was the people and the nations, the emperors, the presidents, the prime ministers.
Right.
And then after the nation state era, we entered the technological era and of consumerism. So now it was the relationship between the people and the corporations, because now corporations run the world. So we've been in the era of consumerism. We're exiting the era of consumerism. And so I asked myself, what is the next era? Because each era depends on what we value from the powers that be. So recently, the last era we were in, we valued consumerism. We valued things. That's what drove our relationship. That was the appeasement that was given to us, was things, consumerism. But the next thing, if you pay attention, that we are valuing is transactions. Everything now is about how quick can the transactions be. We want our transactions to be instantaneous. Right. So this transactional era that we're entering is what's gonna fuel the transhumanism era. That's what's gonna allow us to be these mindless people wearing VR headsets, because we want everything to be instantaneous.
Brain chips.
So to go back to your original, question, it's unstoppable. It's unstoppable. If you look at the trend of humanity, it's unstoppable. We're gonna enter the age of transhumanism because the people value it. It's not the powers that be. The people themselves value it.
People at large, right?
Yeah. But that doesn't mean we all have to. So again, there's gonna be a side by side reality.
Yeah, have discernment, guys. And it seems when you look into the esoteric, and this, in man we have our two bodies, right? We have like our lower and our upper natures, right? And it's like the closer you get with your upper nature through service to others and altruism and acts of kindness, prayer, or meditation, whatever you want to call it. That's the higher you get to what some people say ascension or reaching like peak consciousness, right? The material stuff, the stuff they're bringing in, what you call consumerism, is the material. It is the lower self, right? So what they're doing is, like, hey, it was shiny gold, right? Gold has always been, it goes back to the beginning of time. Gold has always been a huge thing with us. Dragons loved gold. The fallen Elohim loved gold, right? Like it's always been this fascination with gold. So, they show us shiny stuff and we gravitate towards it because that's what our lower bodies, that's what they crave. I guess that's a good word for it, right? Your lower self, your lower nature, your what you would call your sin body, right? Which is represented by, animals and whatnot, composite creatures. But yeah, man, no. So yeah, that's a pretty big question right there. I think that's cool though, that you've been kind of developing your own philosophies. Not everybody can do that, Eddie.
Yeah, it's been a hobby of mine. I've loved psychology and philosophy my entire life. And I used to do it. It was crazy. When I was a younger kid, I used to just think about life and psychology and come up with concepts like, oh, so when people do this, it's because of this. But then when I got into high school and started to actually learn about psychology, I was surprised to learn that there were already concepts for the things that I was thinking about, oh, so I don't know. I get excited about psychology and philosophy and how the mind works and why people do what they do. And like I said in the beginning, I feel like I've kind of reached a plateau with conspiracies. Now naturally I'm just I know, how things are happening, but now I'm questioning why are things happening. So I'm just having fun with it and trying to add to the human philosophy with my own concepts and my own perspective, pretty much my own perspective. I don't want to just continue regurgitating other perspectives. I want to think for myself and actually come up with concepts and come up with perspectives and opinions and views to help people see it in a different way.
Absolutely, man. No, and I think that's important, dude. And I find that with myself, the stuff that I first started researching or talking about when I first started you've been podcasting for how long now?
Basically 2 to 3 years.
2 to 3 years. Well, I don't know. It seems like you've been doing it a lot longer.
I know it seems that way, right? But my YouTube channel has only been around since 2022, around there.
But you were going on shows before then, right?
No, dude.
Get
no.
the fuck out of here. I don't know why I thought that.
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
It's crazy, man. No, you've acquired a following. Rat, what's up, dude? Good to see you. Good to see everybody here. Subliminal. Let me say hey to some people. Wildhead, what's up? Nancy, Sherry. Not too many people here on a Sunday afternoon. I don't know. It's still morning where you are. It's afternoon where I am. It feels great outside today, dude. I don't know what I'm going to do later today. But no, but that's cool, man. And I feel like I kind of feel you when you say that you've plateaued on the conspiracies. There's certain things you can't look into any further because you're I feel like I'm chasing my own tail now. I feel like I'm developing an echo chamber, right? That's what kind of fascinates me about the occult, just learning about it, right? I'm not a practitioner by any means. Everyone knows. We do an esoteric book review on my Patreon every Saturday morning. Would love to have you there one day, man, if you're ever free and you just want to hang out for an hour or something. I don't know.
We'll work it out.
Yeah, man. We read a treatise or we read a part from one or something, usually some Hall or some Steiner, and we'll kind of go into it with whoever's there that's in the audience, me and a couple other people who are both here right now. Shouts out Subliminal and Rat. And that's patreon.com/greypilledpodcast, guys. You also get a free sticker pack. You get a lot of cool stuff. Let's see. Okay. I quit talking about myself. Sorry. You couldn't hear that, could you? That my dog was just, I don't know who he was barking at.
I couldn't hear it. I don't know if everybody else did or not.
I don't know. Probably. I'm pretty sure it was Thomas that told me, like, hey, you know, if you don't mention it, no one will know that, you know, that it happened, right? Like, if something's happening in the background, most people usually don't hear it until I'm like, hey, guys, sorry about that. Barking at the ATF, RIP Jules. No, never. I bought mine legally, guys. Jeff, good to see you. Good morning to everybody. Well, it's afternoon. It's morning. It's somewhere. You've heard of Eddie. You know who Eddie is, Subliminal. But yeah, man, I feel you when you're like, you know, I can't talk about certain things anymore. But when you can keep kind of looking into like, oh, well, where did this school of thought come from? Oh, it developed in this mystery school. Oh, this is actually older and predates this. And I mean, dude, there's a lot to get into there, right?
Yeah. And there's always different like perspectives to look at things, right? Like we can look at the history of man through the history of like through the occult view or the conspiratorial view or the philosophical view. Like there's always different facets or perspectives to look at it, which is cool, you know, like that's why I did the whole German painter thing with Hitler. Like there's just different, like if I'm going to return to things that are already like played out, then I'm going to at least try and do it from a different perspective.
Yeah. No, that's cool that you're doing that. There is a video, however, it is a little deep dive you did. It may have been a couple years back, where you were like, what is Moloch, right?
Yeah.
Now, I wanted to talk to you about this, and you knew I wanted to talk to you about this. What did you mean when? Because you said, I think that you said that Moloch may have been like a place, right?
No, not a place, but actually a general term for a type of sacrifice. But the worship of Moloch came from a specific place, is what you might be referring to.
Milcom, right?
No, so Milcom was a variation of the name of Moloch. But so to get into it, the Bible is the number one source for the history of Moloch.
Right.
There actually is no mentioning of a deity by the name of Moloch outside of the Bible, the Old Testament.
So
yeah,
he's not found in any kind of Canaanite text or anything.
No, there is no Moloch, or there is no reference to Moloch side of the Old Testament, aside from a couple scholars who are simply referencing the Bible. For example, there's a couple ancient scholars who witnessed child sacrifice, but didn't really know what they were seeing, and referenced it to the Old Testament, like, oh, this must be Moloch, but it wasn't. So, but the place you're talking about is called the Valley of Hinnom. I forgot what the Hebrew word for it is, but in English it's called the Valley of Hinnom, and it's still existent in Israel. It's actually a beautiful place now, but the Bible describes it back in the day as a disgusting place festering with diseases, because it was a place not only where people would go to burn their trash, like it was a valley where people would go and burn their trash, but it was also a place where people would go and perform child sacrifice. And under this deity of Moloch. But when I set out to uncover the truth of Moloch, the historical truth of Moloch, I was surprised to find, again, there is no reference to Moloch outside of the Old Testament, but there are a lot of references to
I think it's Gehenna that you're thinking about, right?
yeah, Gehenna.
Okay.
Gehenna is the Greek version of the
Valley of Hinnom.
Hebrew. Yeah.
I have this that I'm gonna pull up real fast.
Guy Ben Hinnom, I think, is the Hebrew. Guy Ben Hinnom, which is Valley of Hinnom, which got watered down to the Greek Gehenna.
Okay. Yeah.
But,
This is the word Gehenna, which appears in the New Testament, referring to a place of punishment and destruction.
yeah, so that's the place. And Jesus actually uses that place as a metaphor for hell. So there is no hell in the New Testament. Whenever Jesus spoke about hell, he actually used the word Gehenna. He was using that place as a reference for what would happen to sinners. And this is beside the point. And I made another video about this, but whenever Jesus spoke about the afterlife for sinners, he never said that they would be punished forever. He said that they would be destroyed forever, meaning that their soul would cease to exist.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Wow,
But-
Eddie.
If we're getting back to Moloch, the interesting about it, so in Hebrew, there are abbreviations. Most words are actually abbreviations, like they're like 2, 3, or 4 letter
Somebody
words.
has right here MLK, milk,
Yep, yep.
which is
He knows where
weird. MLK, Martin Luther King. It's
Yeah,
weird.
yeah. He knows where I'm going with it. So in the video, I uncovered that the abbreviation for Moloch is MLK, but there are a lot of other Hebrew words that come from that root abbreviation. But to put it simple, all major scholars who have studied the Moloch history have concluded that Moloch was a type of sacrifice. So whenever people were burning children, they were performing a Moloch sacrifice.
Wow. Okay, that makes the whole ritual, the whole idea of it makes so much more sense now.
Yeah,
Because you don't find Moloch in the Canaanite pantheon. You
no,
know, he's not a son of Baal. He's not a son of Dagon. He's not a son of El or Mot or any of them, right?
no.
So then people want to go look like, well, maybe he's named something else. You know, it's like, no, because even at what is it? I really want to say Bohemian Grove, but it's Bohemian Grove. In that video, they say forever in Moloch, right? I don't know. So it's not even referred to as a deity there. But they are talking about, I think, how it, like the sacrificial chamber, maybe they were referring to, which is Minerva, right? The owl.
Yeah,
People want to say that Moloch was worshipped as an owl, really was worshipped as a bull, right?
biblically speaking, yes, that's what the Bible describes him as. And this is accurate historically. So the Phoenicians and other ancient cultures had these brass bowls, these brass bowls that were basically furnaces, which they would throw the children into.
They would heat them up, right? They would heat up
Yeah.
the bulls, and then they would.
Yeah, but check this out. I also got to thinking, right? Because I'm like, okay, so in the Bible it talks about people worshiping the bull and Moloch being a bull. So I looked to ancient history and I was like, okay, who else was doing that? And surprisingly enough, all of the Anunnaki, the major Anunnaki, were always known as the bull of heaven.
In
we're
real.
Yeah, the bull
Yeah.
of heaven. And a lot of the Sumerian and Babylonian statues are of those half bull, half man deity representations.
Mhm.
So I'm thinking to myself, well, maybe the Bible is hinting at human sacrifice under the Anunnaki.
Right. And I mean, when you look into some of the stories of these few particular Anunnaki, you wouldn't put it past them. They burn entire cities, right? Sodom and Gomorrah, it's very close to the tale of, or what's it called? It's Ninurta and Nergal, basically, and they bombed these cities of Marduk, right?
Yeah.
And that's basically this. It rings very similar to Sodom and Gomorrah, right?
Yep.
Yeah. But
Yeah, that whole thing is a trip too. I mean, of course, that comparison comes from Zecharia Sitchin.
Yeah, and you got to take it with a grain of salt, right?
I broke that one down too, and there is some truth to it. It's not exactly the way he puts it. He definitely exaggerates it, but there is an ancient story having to do with some angels destroying Marduk's fortifications that sound a lot similar to Sodom and Gomorrah.
Yeah, man. I've always said that, Sitchin has great stories, but to take the stories with a grain of salt, that these are just his translations of them, right?
Yeah.
I have a buddy right now who works. He actually works at the barbershop with my wife when she does work every now and then. We have a friend who owns a barbershop, so she goes up there and makes some extra money every now and then. He is learning Sumerian. Yeah.
Whoa.
He's been doing archaeology for like almost 8 years. He has a master's in it, I think. He's learning Sumerian. I think I'm gonna bring him on some shows with me. Maybe try to get him. Yeah, dude. Because he did tell my wife, he was like, some of those stories that Sitchin was writing about are actually a lot more similar to the original text than people were saying. He was like, so they're doing like, I don't know, man. I always found it fascinating though, because you do find these similar stories elsewhere, right? In other cultures throughout time. There has to be some truth to them, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's funny how people look at the Bible and the Old Testament from this like linear, narrow perspective where it's like, it's like, this is the truth or whatever. And like, I get that, but it's just a one perspective of human history. Like, for example, like people who subscribe to that whole the Abrahamic faiths, right? People who subscribe to that, they look at it as if that's the only truth. But in reality, it's a very specific perspective of human history. They weren't the only ones living on the earth. So,
right.
For example, we can take the Great Flood, right? They talk about the Great Flood in the Old Testament. That's just their version of it. It's just their perspective of it. But there are other cultures, other civilizations who must have lived through those times as well.
There's cultures. Sorry if I interrupt you, Eddie.
No, you're good.
I was saying there's cultures that when they were first contacted by man would ask them, like, where'd y'all come from? And their stories would be of this great flood, right? And there's always this bringer of knowledge that comes afterwards, this Promethean figure, which I always have looked at as like Enki and his sons, right? Now, this may have happened physically or in visions, right?
Yeah.
Like these people could have had dreams. And they could have came to them, astrally. But this goes into people, getting all up in arms when you talk about Yahweh. I mean, was Yahweh not a son of El?
He was in the beginning.
So how did he become, was he the God of the Old Testament? Like, I know it's very controversial, but this is gray pilled. We do dive into everything.
Absolutely. And I've touched on this, as you know, through my Anunnaki Theorem book and documentary. So just to open it up, most people think that the Bible in general is a how-to manual. How to live your life. It's just a bunch of stories basically telling you how to be a good person. Incorrect. Although that is the ultimate goal, that's not all it is. It's a very specific perspective on human history, one that I have a lot of respect for, because it's beautiful and intent. But you got to understand that it's a perspective from a very specific group of people in ancient times on human history. It's not the only perspective, but it is a perspective, and I think they did a great job of preserving that perspective, and they did what's the word, beyond human effort of writing. Like, it is, like, to me, it is like a pinnacle of
Extraordinary.
human, extraordinary. It's like
Immaculate.
immaculate. The Old and New Testament are, to me, immaculate expressions of existentialism. I mean, they
they're
capture
fascinating. Yeah.
they capture the human experience in a great way.
Absolutely.
So with that understanding, we can look at the whole Yahweh thing with a different perspective and understand now how he went from being a Canaanite deity to this revered one and only God of Judaism, right? Because now we're looking at it not as religion, but as history. So the interesting thing is that Yahweh, the name Yahweh, is introduced in the Bible in, I believe, Exodus. Regardless, he's introduced when Moses and the people are in Sinai. That's the first time the word and name Yahweh is introduced to us, is in the Sinai desert. And what's interesting about that, historically speaking, it was in the Sinai Peninsula where the first people began to worship Yahweh. We have actual stone carvings of these people known as the Shasu living in the Sinai desert, who were worshiping Yahweh, but not as the Judaic version of it. He was just another Canaanite deity who actually had a wife by the name of Asherah. And we also have the Egyptian perspective of that history. There's an Egyptian inscription from an emperor, I forgot his name, who subjugated some of these people. And in his inscription, he says, "These are the Shasu, the people of Yahweh."
Wow.
So the Bible is recording that. The Bible has recorded that, again, because the first time we see Yahweh is when Moses is in the Sinai Peninsula, and the first time we see Yahweh in history, in archaeology, is in the Sinai Peninsula under these people named the Shasu.
Yeah, and when you look at the stories of these other cultures of their gods who and the Anunnaki, you see, that these Anunnaki had like a station where they were placed, right? I'm pretty sure the Sinai Peninsula was shared by a few different ones, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Is that the Fertile Crescent?
I believe so.
Okay. I know Ishtar had some kind of she had some kind of reign there, and then apparently went east. I don't know. It's been a while since I've gotten into those stories, dude. I haven't done an Elohim etymology in a few months. Shout out Adrian. We love Adrian, and we will be seeing him back soon. He is he may have a new member to his family coming as well. So
nice.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Love to see it. Don't want to speak for him, but I'll try to get him back on soon, guys. Don't worry. Love you, Age. But anyway, yeah, no, this is something that I wanted to talk to you about because, people get all up in arms, and it seems like they forget to even have a spiritual connection with Christ, that they get so tied up in the dogma, right? And the doctrine that was, written by other men, right? When really this is a spiritual connection that you establish with, the Holy Spirit or Christ. But, some people have their own interpretations for it. And I think that should be respected, right? Everyone has their own walk with faith, their own journey with what, they call it their higher self or Christ consciousness. Who are you to argue that is wrong, right? I mean, I know everyone's going to have their own opinion, and right now opinions are stronger than ever. But I don't know. I find it interesting that, I don't know, man, like some of these topics, it's cool to question everything, but this, it's like, no, I actually like getting into stuff like this because it makes me stronger in my faith, right?
Yeah. Yeah, thing, man. Like it's crazy. Like I was saying earlier, right? We can look at history through different lenses, and one of the lenses we can look at it through is the Abrahamic faiths. I mean, if you really, I mean, we could basically say all of human history has revolved around the Abrahamic faiths. And it really has, like everything that we know of on a major macro scale has revolved the Abrahamic faiths. And so really, when we're studying the Old Testament and the New Testament to a certain degree, what we're studying is how the Jews, via the early Israelites,
Right.
were able to gain power and get to the point they're at. I mean, that's what it is. It's like, and of course, in today's socio-political heat, it can be viewed as anti-Semitic. But I'm not trying to go there. I'm just saying, in reality,
I think everyone here knows, Eddie, that you are a raging anti-Semite, and that's why you made that Hitler video. I'm just kidding.
No.
Look, you're on Gray Pilled, so who knows what people may say? They may call you a schizo now, or a Jesuit. I don't know. I am compromised, guys. I did turn 33 this year. Anyway.
Oh,
yeah,
Jesus,
dude. Illuminati confirmed.
But I mean, it's wild, right? Because Israel is one of the top powers of the world today. So really, what we're looking at is how the Jews and Yahweh became powerful and a formidable power in this world. That's one perspective. And it's not just them, it's also Christians and Muslims. So it's one perspective, right? It's like this whole world, in essence, has been revolving the Abrahamic faiths and has been affected by all of their contention and battles and arguments and whatever. But
I mean, yeah, man. Yeah, but we're still fighting a war from 2,000 years ago, right?
Yeah. So to add to your thing about Yahweh, people are always up in arms about it. It's like, man, a long time ago, Yahweh, like we're saying, was nothing more than a lower level Canaanite deity
who was sacrificed to, right?
Yeah, who people were sacrificing to, and probably sacrificing children to at some point as well. But now, it's been perfected. The concept of it has been perfected and changed and transitioned into what it is today. And so now the Jewish community, the Zionist community, the Israel nation has become very powerful. So, but it wasn't always the case. So what I'm basically saying here is like, it's wild how these Abrahamic faiths, these institutionalized religions, have gained so much power, and
through
it's
the
just
priest class,
normal.
dude. Through the priest class, these bloodlines or families. You know how people go into the Illuminati bloodlines and families. Like this goes back into the Babylonian priest kings, right?
Yeah,
that served people like Enlil and Marduk. Even in Egypt, right? Like I think it's all tied together, and they were it's basically like a Game of Thrones for the gods, right? Now they're rebranded as like clothing designs and jewelry designs, right? And like fucking like kids TV shows, and it's crazy, dude. It's crazy, and people don't understand how we are giving our consent every day and basically using magic, right? I mean, people don't know that these iPhones are pretty much portals.
Yep.
I mean, in a broad sense. I mean, I talked about this with 7 C's last night.
Yep. Yeah, man. So the history of religion is really just the history of how specific groups of people have gained power.
Yeah, and there's other creation stories, right? I was speaking about this book. Have you ever heard of the Orlinda?
No, I don't think so.
It's it's basically like this handwritten thing passed down through. It came pretty much from Frisian, like, Freya, that whole, so I guess from the Norse, from, Scandinavia, Ireland, that region, very interesting book about the creation story of like these three mothers from the creator, one black, one yellow, and one white. And how these races, it's funny how it's always three, right? It's the three sons of Noah. I don't know. It's just how many stories are there like that, right? That we don't take into account as history because it isn't part of this one paradigm of history. What you were saying, the Abrahamic, that little paradigm. Who knows how much history is hidden from us? How many civilizations these ruling classes have sunk in order to keep this stuff hidden from us, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely, man. One thing that I started tripping on recently. Have you heard of this dude, Professor Jiang?
No.
Jiang. He went viral recently. I forgot what. Check him out, dude. Everybody, check him out. Professor Jiang, dude. You're gonna love this dude. He goes hard. He's a university professor, and he puts all of his lectures for free on YouTube. And he like really does a great job of breaking down, how the world works. In a occult and conspiratorial way.
Mm-hmm.
But he's been opening up my mind a lot lately, and encouraging me to think philosophically. And I realized something recently after watching one of his lectures. And what I realized is, we've already been changed as humans. We are, this is going to sound simple when I say it, but give me a chance to really break it down, because it's actually profound when you really, really think about it. So obviously we are not the same people that the ancients were, like the ancient Greeks, the ancient Babylonians.
We're watered down.
Yeah, we're not the same, obviously, but deeper than that, we are totally and entirely not the same. We view life and the universe completely different. If we were to be in a room with an ancient Greek person, we would be different species from different planets. And so, and the reason being, there's two reasons, right? I'm going to break these down briefly. The first reason is philosophically. Immanuel Kant, who's one of the fathers of philosophy, has said that it is impossible for us to know the physical world. It's impossible for me to know who Jules is in all of his entirety. It's impossible for you guys to know who Eddie is in all of my entirety. It's just simply impossible. We can only surmise what we know about the outside world, and that's what creates our perspective. And so as a collective family, human family, we have a generalized idea of what the physical world is, which is what the zeitgeist is, the era that we're living in. And so these zeitgeists are what the current era, or how the current era perceived life in the universe, right?
Right.
So the ancient people were a completely different species of people, mentally speaking. We would not even be able to fathom the way they viewed life. They wouldn't even be able to fathom the way we view life. So that's the first way that this has happened, right? Philosophically speaking. But I do believe, and I haven't proven this, but I do believe that there was a deliberate effort by the powers that be to change the way we perceive the outside world so that we could be a species under the agenda that they are pushing. So that's why all the world is heading the way it is. And that's why they've been pushing all the propaganda, indoctrination, entertainment, symbolism, subliminal messaging. All of this has been a concerted effort to slowly change us into a different species of beings mentally. We're entering a new zeitgeist. So 200 years from now, the human beings that are going to be here will be completely alien to us. But those humans are going to be the ones living under the beast system, proverbially. But this is the reason why. This is the reason why all of this has been happening, is so that they can literally change the human mind into a whole new species of thinking and being, and observing and perceiving the outside world.
Is this one of like a reptilian kind of being, you think? What do you think,
No,
man?
I mean that's going like far fetched.
I'm kind of halfway messing with you, but
No, I know, but I'm just saying, like, on a practical, I mean, literally on a practical level, man, I'm saying, like, we are not the same species of humans that the Greeks were,
I
that people were,
absolutely agree.
you know, and so, but there's been a concerted effort, I believe, to shift, because you have to understand the first point. The first point is it's impossible for us to know the outside world. It's impossible. So everybody's
try as we might. Yeah, we'll never get that grasp unless you can, I don't know, time travel. Even
so
then, you still won't know what it's like to live in that time, right?
It's the old axiom, and we've all heard this axiom. It's the old axiom. Control what people think, and you control the world. That's what I'm getting at.
I got you.
That's what I'm getting at. Is once they get us to start thinking about history differently, then like all of it has been deliberately taught to us in a certain way. Like the way they taught us history when we were kids was done in a certain way, so that we have a certain perspective about life, a certain perspective about the universe, a certain perspective about who we are and where we come from. But it's just a perspective. That's all it is. It's all it ever was, a perspective. It's not the truth.
Does this do anything on a mass scale level, though? Like as a mass consciousness? Does this change anything, bro? Like
that's what I'm getting at.
On some like different timeline shit, and like I don't know, dude.
Absolutely. That's the whole point of what I'm saying.
I figured you were getting there.
That's the whole point of what I'm saying is once they change the way we perceive the world, then they change humanity, because it's the way you perceive the world is the way you act and the way you move. So once they've changed the way we process information, not just what we think, but how we think, they've actually
a giant ritual.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, guys. Dude, everything you just said, I'm clipping. Just so you know, I'll send that to you. That's gonna go in the next edit for sure. Yeah. And I do want to respect your time. I know it's still morning there. You're with your family, your beautiful family. Please tell them that I said hello.
Absolutely.
Eddie, what can we expect from you in the near future? What's coming from Esoteric Eddie TV? Because I'd love to work with you on some things, man. I'd love to have you on the show more. I know you've been busy this last year, but if you're ever open to doing some stuff, or if you're ever doing to any kind of collabs or anything, man, I'm always down.
Yeah, I'm definitely open to things. I'm a busy guy, so it's hard for me to make time, but I'm definitely open to doing things with people and you. And but what you can expect is for me to completely disappear off of the face of the earth over the next few years. I understand. No, I'm just kidding. I wish, but just the same.
If it was that easy, bro. That'd be a dream, man. Trust me. I'd love to just get my family, move out to the middle of nowhere, and get away from it all. Right, like watch my grandchildren and grow old, and not have to go to work and deal with people and customer service lines and all that stuff, all the day-to-day bullshit that we have to deal with. But and I've been talking about this recently, I also think that's part of the struggle of us as our evolution, right? And our consciousness evolves to go through, to quote unquote suffer or struggle here and there. I'm not saying someone took what I was saying last night as like an eternal suffer. Like, no, but it's good to be uncomfortable sometimes, right?
Yeah.
And that's what we like to do here on Grey Pilled. We like to make people question their own reality. And it's okay.
Real quick, for the people in the comments asking about the professor's name, it's Jiang His YouTube channel is Predictive History.
Predictive History. Okay.
But yeah, man, you can expect me just doing the same old stuff. Lately, obviously getting more into philosophy and just like, expanding my perspectives.
Hell yeah. Where can people find you? Just one more time.
Yeah, absolutely. Esoteric Eddie on everything, pretty much. Esoteric Eddie and Esoteric Eddie TV. Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and X.
All right, guys. Eddie, I appreciate you coming on today. Folks, y'all know where to find me. Greypilled Pod on X, Greypilled_podcast on Instagram, Rumble, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. Like the video, share it. Y'all be sure to like it though, okay? Let's see, patreon.com/greypilledpodcast. Y'all can go over there. Every Saturday we have esoteric book reviews. I already talked to him, Eamon. He's gonna come on. Rat wants to talk to you. I think y'all have a great discussion. He's gonna come on at his own convenience, Rat. Okay. That's every Saturday on Patreon exclusively. We don't release those to the public. We did 2 Saturdays ago. We dropped one for people who want to go check it out. It's available. And there's a lot of tiers on the Patreon if you want to support the show. Also, locals.com. We post all the links to the streams over there. We do Twin Peaks watch parties, other stuff. Got some exclusive guests coming on. So support the show over there. Greyhorn Pagans going on there. I think that maybe next weekend. Maybe doing something with the Paranoid American this next weekend as well. A Sound Science perhaps. So y'all stay tuned for that. And we'll do Twin Peaks one night this week, guys. We'll have a watch party. But anyway, I hope everybody has good rest of their Sunday and stay gray pill, guys. We'll see y'all later.
Look, you're going to have to move fast. Conspiracy cards from Paranoid American are here.
Conspiracy cards, flip it, what's the deal? Conspiracy cards with that paranoid seal. Pack it, unwrap it, truth in these stacks. Flip 1, flip 2, get a few of these packs. Flip it up, what's next? Move fake, we flex. Bigfoot in the woods, stay lying, that's facts. MK Ultra, no cap. Every F-51 is a trap. Roswell crash, what's that? They hide the truth, where's that? Conspiracy cards, flip it, what's the deal? Conspiracy cards with that paranoid seal. Pack it, unwrap it, truth in these stacks. Flip 1, flip 2, get a few of these packs.
That's right. Conspiracy cards from Paranoid American. A set of over 200 cards featuring legendary conspiracy theorists, cult leaders, esoteric secrets, and more. For more details, visit conspiracycards.com today.